Hey, this is Wendy with Loaves and Dishes, and today I'm going to show you how to make an economical and really quite delicious dinner for your family or friends, or maybe just for you. I don't know. You're going to have to excuse my voice. I've been sick with COVID, and this is the very, very end of it, and my voice is just like an old craggly woman. So anyway, this has a delicious Asian flavor to it. It's for those really thin pork chops that are bone-in. They're so affordable at the store, and the problem is that it's easy to cook them and have them turn out to be super dry. So this is how you keep from having super dry, thin pork chops. We're going to do 4 to 6 thin bone-in pork chops. They come in kind of a variety of sizes, so you might have to get a little loose with this recipe. If you find that you don't have enough marinade to go over your pork chops, just add more vegetable oil and soy sauce. You're gonna start with 1/3 cup of soy sauce, 1/4 cup of oil, 1/4 cup of hoisin sauce, which you'll find over in the Asian section of your grocery store. It's like a barbecue sauce, kind of. 1/3 cup of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of ginger powder, garlic powder. I know that seems like a lot, but this is a marinade, and we want that really garlicky flavor in there. Then we're going to do 2 tablespoons of ginger, which I'll show you how to do that here in just a second. Here we are. That's what fresh ginger looks like. Don't use the ground ginger. If you can't find fresh ginger, just leave it off. Or add lemongrass. Chop up lemongrass and add to it. But I'll get to this in a second. 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar, a pinch of kosher salt and black pepper, and 1/2 teaspoon of red pepper. And then you're also going to need a yellow onion. But this is fresh ginger, and you can see I've got about 2 inches and some barbs coming off of there. So I'm going to use the whole thing. You could just pinch the little barbs off and just use the 2 inches. But I really like ginger, so I'm adding more. And that's what I mean by this recipe is variable. If you really like a certain flavor, just add more of it. I use a spoon and I scratch the skin off because you don't waste as much that way. And then take your microplane, or if you have a box grater, it's the same as the tiny, tiny holes on your box grater. And just, scrub that all in there. I got tired of microplaning because, like I just said, I've had COVID recently and I just get tired easy. So I stopped a little early, but you could use all of it. As I said, this is a variable recipe, and you just do what you like the most of. Now, don't get crazy and add a whole bunch of ingredients that aren't on the list, but within the list, use what you like. Then I'm going to whisk it up real good. Just try to get that brown sugar to incorporate in. And I'm going to tell you at this point, if you like to marinate your things in a Ziploc bag, pour it in a Ziploc bag. I like to do a bowl because then I'm not messing up something or wasting a bag. And I just stick it in the fridge. But here go the pork steak, the pork chops. They're thin, but see how they're big? They're not usually this big. Anyway, and then you got to get the marinade all over them. So if they're in a plastic bag, you can just mush the whole plastic bag around. But mine are in a bowl, and I could try using a fork, but I'm just going to tell you, you got clean hands, and hands are the easiest thing to use. So, and these are just so gigantic. Anyway, we're going to finish doing this, and then I'm going to stick it in the fridge for a couple hours is good. You could do it as long as overnight. You don't want to do longer than 24 hours, though. I just think it'd be too saturated at that point. Anyway, we're going to do this, and then I had a kitchen issue yesterday, and I'll tell you what it is. So now you're supposed to use a whole onion, but I'm only using half because that's all I had. But anyway, cut your onion into slices, and then we're going to put the onion under the pork chops in the pan and a few on the top. But it kind of lifts the pork chop. So that sauce is going to drip down, and the onion kind of perfumes and flavors the pork chops, and it also lifts it up out of the sauce. So it's got a dual purpose there. Now, what I really want you to do is get a rimmed baking sheet and line it with aluminum foil. But my aluminum foil was totally messed up when I did this yesterday, so I'm just having to use this aluminum pan. It is way too big for this job, but it's what I had. Sometimes in the kitchen, friends, you just gotta improvise, and this was an improvise. Because it's kind of a sticky, messy recipe, and I don't like to mess up my rimmed baking sheet, so I like to line it with aluminum foil. But my aluminum foil wouldn't come off the roll, and it was coming off in strings. It was so frustrating. Anyway, okay, put onion down, put your pork chops in, and then pour the marinade over the top, whatever you've got left. Don't save any that the pork chops have been soaking in. That can't be used. It has raw pork juice in it. But we're going to cook the pork juice, so it's okay. Sprinkle what you've got of onions left over the top. Usually we would do half an onion underneath, half an onion over the top. Now this goes in the oven low and slow at 325 until it's baked through for about 20 minutes. Delicious.